Greetings and welcome back to Stellaris, my Commonwealth of Man playthrough. When I shifted ethics, one thing I forgot to highlight was it affected my culture workers. Previously they were doing citizen pop happiness for being xenophobes and naval capacity for being militarist. It also has now added edicts fund for being authoritarian. And I believe it also reduced how much naval capacity they were doing since I'm no longer a fanatic. So we just about have this war under control. I've still got to take this one planet back here, and we have to retake Eblik and Vassal. Once we retake these two systems, then we fully control the hegemony of Ubaria and just have to get our acceptance for status quo up. Right now they have a much stronger navy than us, but we are in the process of smashing some of their fleets. There's about 6K here with 4K that are leaving the system to join up with about 7K in here. Actually, it's 8.5K. But we have 13K right here. And we are in the process, of course, destroying 2 of their battle groups. Then we will move up to retake Vassal. But they do have some larger fleets around here. There's a 10K over here that could be a problem, especially since my allies' fleets are kind of spread out and engaging them piecemeal. Our infiltration attempt in the United Latrepian domains succeeded. That gave us robotic workers, and we are going to go ahead and sacrifice our academic to get an additional plus 10% research speed. Alright, they fled. How many did we destroy before they got away? 1 corvette is all it's saying. Well, they shot down quite a few of our missiles, and we shot down quite a few of theirs. Did any of theirs get through? Yes, quite a few did get through. Oh, interesting. None of my missiles did hull damage. I think they are learning and increasing their point defense. So after we take this system, why is the system not flipping? We are here at where the system is, but for some reason it did not flip. Glossrahenian Galactic Hierarchy is in a migration treaty with the Galactic Destican polity. Allied Multics territories broke off their research agreement with the Praku Interstellar Nation. Okay, they have retreated to Ubaria with quite a few fleets. But I still do not understand why Eblik has not flipped.
Science Division report success.
Eco-simulation. Farming techniques can be further refined through sophisticated computer simulations of different environments and weather patterns. This allows for a more predictable crop yield. Gene clinics would be nice purely for the population growth. We don't really need the habitability. We have sufficient habitability now, being adaptable and having terraformed all the worlds, and the 2 bonuses we have to habitability, that we have habitability on every planet up to 100 at this point. Gene clinics would just be for growth speed, but that would take up a building slot. How long would it take to get genetic healthcare? a year and a half. Food processing would actually be more effective for us, giving us fruit processing facilities. It'd only take about the same time to get the Edict Fund doing effective bureaucracy. Yeah, we'll go for effective bureaucracy just for a re-roll, if nothing else. I do have a statecraft now, so it was 20 months with him. That knocks another month off of it. And of course, this switching of researchers in the current update is no longer a valid option. They took out these 3 researchers. You just have 1 head of research now. I do not understand why this system is not being flipped when we are in the system. But let us go ahead and head here. I believe we should be able to handle these fleets. Hierarchy of Moffith entered a commercial pact with the Glosterhenians. Glosterhenians ended their rivalry with the interstellar Picarian coalition.
All sword ground elements are dropping on target.
We have begun taking this last planet over here, so it is time to stop bombarding with our final fleet and send it to follow as well. Oh, 8 of their K are leaving, so we will take this station, flip this station so that we can repair at it.
Sword 1 Actual reports all ground objectives secured.
So we can move our transport fleet up this way as well.
Fleet action underway. Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Glosterhenians have declared the Tender Zun their rival, and we have auxiliary fire control. By installing an auxiliary fire control system, our ships can afford to make more advanced calculations, increasing accuracy. We'll go ahead and knock out quantum energy states for even more energy credits from jobs, and we will put Nishant back in here. Star Realm of Shar has the United Nations of Earth has declared Star Realm of Shar their rival. Great Miravandian Authority is in a migration treaty with the Uthabulan allied clans. And we sold a slave on the slave market. That does remind me, there were a few more I needed to add to the slave market. I had spare oxen litters working as clerks or other jobs on different worlds. This farmer on Unity. That clerk is already on the market. There should be a clerk here. It's already on the market. So you can actually select multiples to put on the market at the same time of the same species, but I only had the one that wasn't already on the market. Oh, here come their additional 9K. Looks like we may lose this fight.
Science Division reports success.
Standardized cruiser patterns. Establishing new standards for the modeling and construction of cruisers greatly improves the efficiency of the production pipeline. Afterburners would take less than a year. Let's go ahead and knock afterburners out. That way that pushes our tech score up a little more, knocking out a quick tech. Now, one of the things with a slow research game is it takes so long to research anything that you tend to go down different paths. So I may not necessarily get all the research, but when I am stealing techs and getting techs from debris, it means that the AI tends to go for the military. They tend to go for weapon upgrades, cruisers, stuff like that. so I can get a majority of my research through economics that nobody else is doing because they are focused on combat, and get my combat techs through theft and debris, which enables me to gain more techs faster because then they have to go through and research the economic policies themselves for the most part. So we have a new resolution. The enemy of my enemy. An enemy is one is the enemy of all. If one of our numbers is attacked, should we not permit any of our numbers to punish the offender. Grants the counterattack casus belli on empires that are not Galactic community members and are in an offensive war against a Galactic community member. This boosts our naval capacity and fleet power up, but increases our ship upkeep, and it's the hierarchy of Moffat who wants this. I will support it, mainly for the boost to naval capacity and fleet power, since I tend to want to maintain a strong fleet. The Star Realm of Shar has now become the top diplomatic power, and the allied Multics are getting up there as well. Now, I do believe we're probably going to end up losing this fight. Looks like my fleet has already fled. No, there it is. It was one of my allies' fleets that fled. Oh no, I was looking at a wrong fleet entirely. Both of my allies' fleets are still here. But this is getting ugly fast. And we did sell another oxen litter. Looks like I'm about to lose an allied fleet. We sold another oxen litter. I am close to cap on energy credits. Oh, the price of alloys is way down. I'm going to go ahead and buy 2,500 alloys. And another 2,500 alloys. Now it looks like we are losing this fight. Yeah, they brought in more reinforcements. I believe we are going to end up losing this fight. We've done some damage to them, but we are going to lose. How far out are my additional fleets? Alright, we need to change their orders. They're going to oblique. And this one needs to follow this fleet instead of Fortress Legionnaires. I believe we are going to try our best to save the Fortress Legionnaires. Yeah, that is 8. That is about 12k in fleets that they have, where we only have about 6k in fleets. I think I will wait till my allies withdraw. We will fight as long as we can. Federician League was given association status to the Allied Independent Systems. One of my ally fleets is gone. I think we're going to withdraw. I'll go ahead and hit retreat now. The pre-FTL hives on Rakaran 4 have greatly enhanced the written communication. Machines attuned to the hive mind are now able to produce standardized records in great quantities. And historical records are no longer limited by the hive's memory. So they are now in the late medieval. This is a hive mind. Oh, they look very similar to the species that got wiped out when we terraformed a world. So we lost 10 destroyers and 9 corvettes. It says we only took out a few ships. I'm pretty sure we took out more than that, but our allies may have done a significant amount of the damage. They were pounding us with missiles. Our missiles didn't do the most damage of our attacks, but quite a few did get through. It was up there. So they still did not have sufficient point defense to handle us. They did very little to us with missiles. We did get another ship damaged in the emergency FTL. And we sold another oxen litter. Fortress Legionnaires will be gone for about 4 years. So Strike Force Dragon is now taking point to lead my allies into trying to smash their large fleets. I've also begun the construction of a colony ship headed toward Niamba 3. I believe the name of the colony will be Bastion. And I did forget, I need to sell a few of those just to keep from getting too high. Apex of History will expire when? 7 more years before we can gain more influence that way. We are getting close on our energy credits. I'm going to go ahead and buy another 2,500 alloys. And we will see about getting some more upgrades done on our defenses. Deneb is falling behind, so we need to do that one. But we're going to upgrade all of our defense platforms since we have a huge surplus of alloys. We also can do a lot more defense platforms. And we're going to go ahead and get a few more upgrades going while it is cheap. What stations do we have left that are not upgrading? Tybor Station. That should be all of our stations that required upgrades, and we still have about 6K left for churning out more fleets if we wanted to. So I should probably go ahead and design my cloaking vessels. Let's see, how close are we? We're going to be getting afterburners in 9 months. I can wait 9 more months to design that. But we aren't going to be putting afterburners on cruisers, so I could go ahead and start designing some cruisers. My current fleets have how much spare capacity? Only about 10 points. That's not really enough to add more than 2 cruisers to each fleet. If we got another 10, that would allow us to have 5 cruisers in the fleet. Total. Yeah, so 3 more cruisers. We'll just go ahead and wait the 9 months and see what we get then. I also neglected my spy networks. I do need to begin acquiring an asset with the Glostworhenians. We will commence when ready on this one. We can steal technology from the Uthubulans in about 6 months. That we won't have enough influence for that, so that is our next one. It's not really too awfully much we can still do here, other than diplomatic incidences or smear campaigns, but that's not something I want to be doing right now during the war. And I can actually, as soon as the war ends, move my spy out of Hegemony of Ubaria and pick a new target.
Battle debris secured.
Got progress toward plasteel and subspace sensors. There's another debris in this system, and then our science ship can start moving upwards towards where the combat will be. As I get closer, I'm going to cloak to be able to get that debris. And I think I am actually going to have Strike Force Dragon hold in the next system until the other fleets catch up with them. They are a bit behind. That one's 2 months behind. This one is 4 months behind. But I would like all of my fleets together before I push forward, just in case they start coming around this way. Unfortunately, my allies have been a little decimated. So we've got to keep an eye on them pushing into allied territory, because if we do a status quo, I do not want my vassals to lose territory.
Ships refitted.
One of my starbase fleets is fully repaired. I'm willing to bet it's Deneb. Not quite, no. I should have actually clicked on it to see who it was. Ah, there it is. It was Murik Station.
Ships refitted.
We have fully upgraded Shaula Station. Deneb is going to have to re-upgrade its missile launcher. It might end up having to re-upgrade its integrity. We'll see in about 4 days.
Ships refitted.
Yes, it does.
Ships refitted.
Deneb is now fully upgraded. We have 2 hangars, 1 of everything else. We can have 6 more. So 4 would be 1 more of everything else. Let's do another missile and a point defense right now. Let's see how far out our furthest fleet is. 3 more months, and they will be in the same system with Strike Force Dragon, and we can start pushing forward as a unit again. They have one of their damage task force back. It does have cruisers. But they have basically been booted out of the occupation where they were bombarding. Now their fleets, when they flee, will come back a little faster because they are so close. My fleet, when it fled, is going to pop back up way up here. So that's the reason it is out for 4 years right now. The Glosterhenians have finally gotten a fleet headed over here. They're about to come in to the Trappist system. It's a 10K fleet. It's got some frigates in it. But we are going to merge up here and try and push and take these 2 systems back. We are really close to a status quo at this point. But we are also really close to maxing out our exhaustion, which could end up in defeat. So we really need to push this.
Battle debris secured.
Got our last debris over here, a little bit to plastills, a little bit to subspace sensors. We are going to go ahead and research the project in this system. It's going to take us a year to get there. Hopefully the war will be over before we arrive. I got to keep an eye back here to make sure they don't sneak anything up to start retaking systems. Otherwise, the front is right here at Oblique.
Ships refitted.
And I did refit my ships here to be a new design, the attack picket. And that, yes, attack was a random name for a ship. So it has a cloaking device, all armor, and right now it has coil guns. Those will eventually become autocannons because it is supposed to come in close. And I actually need to change the combat computer when that happens. No, I'm going to leave it at picket. They will come in fairly close with the autocannons anyway. That allows their flak batteries to have a better chance of shooting down enemy fighters. Alright, so they moved in about 6K there. It'll be January before we're ready to start advancing. Great Miravandian Authority was given association status to the Allied independent systems. Tender Zun declared the Glosswerhenians their rival. Rakuten Imperium declared the Tender Zun their rival. Hegemony of Ubaria broke their migration treaty with Rakuten. Alright, all 3 of our fleets are here. If they're not completely in the system, this one's still 15 days out. I'm going to go ahead and have Dragon, the ones the others are following, heading this way. Latrepian domains have gotten a second fleet back. They're up to over 10K right there, but they're preparing. If they're smart, they will stick together for a little bit before pushing forward. They have another one coming for repairs, I believe. Oh, they're following my strike force, which means that they're going to run into these guys. I think I'm going to redirect. They're going to come down and attempt to retake Huff. They've got 6K going that way. I was going that way. I need to go ahead and route up here with my fleets, and I took them off of follow, it appears. Let's have the other two fleets follow Dragon again. As soon as I can get where I can target Dragon. So we are going to bypass Oblique, actually, cut across and try and meet up with the other strike forces that will be following us eventually. This one is a ways out. They've got to go through this system first. So hopefully with our faster speed, we will get to Vuzbaru before they get there, and they will be able to meet up with us. And then we can push down and retake these last two systems as we're taking that planet, and hopefully end this war. That'd be nice if troop transports could cloak. Oh, they're bringing in more battle groups this way. Interstellar Picarian Coalition has ended the rivalry with the Glosterhenians. Okay, they are moving in a chunk of fleets straight across to Huff. It looks like they left Vuzbaru unoccupied. So the whirling Corolla that is coming to meet up with me may go through Vuzbaru. I'm not sure. That one's moving with Task Force Eudora. That's weird. They have them merging in reverse instead of the reinforcement merging with this one. This one's going to merge with that lone reinforcement over there. Weird. Alright, so change of plans. Let's actually hit this system first. They have almost 10K right there. And then another 7K right there. Total. So it would be about 17K. I've got 16 with two fleets. A third fleet is 24. We should be able to smash their entire fleet. I want to retake Oblique first. Smash their all of their battle groups, and then sweep up to Vuzbaru. They have one fleet that's incredibly fast compared to the others, it
Our
appears.
pioneers have made planetfall.
We have completed afterburners. These powerful thrusters provide additional combat speed but consume a great deal of power. We're about halfway through better armor already. It would take 18 months to knock it out, but we're going to get some more debris. Autocannons would take about 2 years. I'm going to need autocannons for some of my close-range ships, my torpedo craft. Plasma thrusters would take 5 years, as would quantum missiles. I think we get started on autocannons at this point. It takes 2.5 years to get it. That will get us another round of upgrades in about 2.5 years. I didn't even scroll up. Okay, we're going for the alloy megaforges. I think. More economy. The Multics already have that. We do not have a material specialist, I do not believe. Yeah, we do. So we'll have that in a little over a year and a half. Alloy megaforges. These require volatile motes, which we do have. And we can start increasing our alloy output a little bit, which will help with building cruisers and retrofitting and all of that. Now this debris, we already have afterburners, so we're just going to get the shields and the sensors out of it. They've already made it through with all of their fleets. Are any going to turn around now that we are in the system? That's the question.
Fleet action underway.
Yes, 2 of their fleets turned around to face us. We've We've already flipped the system, now we just need to smash these
Inbound
fleets.
message traffic.
They want a status quo. I'm declining right now. I want to destroy their empire. New World Order. Preaching a radical doctrine of planetary unification, a charismatic leader has appeared on Cornagi 2. Now, only a small and relatively ill-equipped band of rebels stands opposed to majoritarian rule. We can watch and learn. We can aid the leader. That would require upkeep for us. Or we can aid the rebels, which requires more upkeep. Cornagi 2 is the one, I believe. Yeah, the Rogerians, we'll just watch and learn. We're not going to participate in this. Let the Rogerians figure out what they're doing. We also intercepted the transport ships. That's probably why they turned around. So we've got a lot more debris in here. Did we lose a ship? We lost one Corvette. I can deal with that. They actually had a few missiles. None of their missiles got through. A lot of ours did. So now that we have flipped this system and taken that, they have a very small fleet up here that is damaged. But they also have their battle groups here that have almost retaken this station. I think we should intercept their battle groups. So we will charge in over there to smash more fleets. Which way is the lake going? It appears to be coming this way. That's a Federation fleet. So yeah, it's about to get into Hizar. If we can smash this fleet so that they don't take Hupf away from us, we might be able to intercept them by repairing at this station. Now if our allies... They're fighting Space Amoeba. If our allies would just push forward... They're following Strike Force Dragon finally. But it looks like they're having to loop all the way around because they don't have a direct connection to us. Because it looked like these guys were going around. So we do need to take Vuzabaru so that they have a position to meet up with us instead of trying to route all the way around through my terrain. We'll move on up to Jundus with them. They got another transport fleet inbound. With a single transport, I'm not worried about it. Where did that 10K fleet disappear to? Oh, it's in the nebula. I can't see them. I don't know which direction they're going from there.
Spaceport reports enemy contact.
Which spaceport is being attacked? Spaceport that I control has reported enemy contact. Oh! The spaceport is shooting at the transport ship. That's fine. And we are about to engage the fleets in here. There's one fairly damaged fleet repairing there, one fleet moving away, and one trying to bombard the planet. I have begun stealing technology from the Uthabulan allied clans.
Fleet action underway.
We have finally engaged their fleets over here. We did flip the system again. Alright, we want Gorgon and Medusa to follow Dragon, and we want Dragon to chase down this fleet so that it can't flip Jernast. Yeah, see, they're pathing all the way around. I think I need to disable take point. so that they'll stop trying to come my way and push through over here where they can. I need to, until I get, like, Vuzabaru. We're about 3 months away from getting to this debris. When I get into Jundis is when I need to cloak. We've almost got them at 100% war exhaustion now that I have actually engaged in the fighting against their huge fleets. Now my fleets are faster, so we should be able to catch them here.
Science Division reports success.
We have effective bureaucracy. Improved algorithms for processing and organizing vast amounts of data has streamlined decision-making and information sharing throughout the Empire. More edicts fund, and the upgraded administrative offices, which we could really use. That's expensive, though. That would take 5 years. Pop growth speed, more diplomatic weight, and the embassy complex. Centralized command would only take about 2 years and would give us access to the military academy. Xeno diplomacy would take almost 3 years. I think we go for galactic bureaucracy, even though it's going to take 5 years, over 5 years. We need to up our unity output so that we are getting traditions faster. Our traditions are kind of slow. And the more edict fund will also help, since we are currently over our limit on edicts, but not by a huge amount. Alright, we're about to jump into the system here. And we're not that far behind them, so we should catch them before they flip the base. They're moving in here to try and save their transport.
Enemy contact. Fleet action underway.
We did not manage to take out the transport ship before they flipped the system here. Now the question is, are they going to head on to Huff, and are we going to have to loop back to Huff to deal with the Breeze fleet? Now, are these still trying to path all the way around? It says no orders now. Where are they headed? Strike Force Scylla has finally returned to Caspadine. Let's see, I need to have this fleet. This is an auto-best fleet. I need to change their designs. They are an interceptor. Let's change them into my new attack pickets. Tell them to go upgrade. Where are they headed? Poligar Station. That's where I wanted them to head. I'm going to have them merge up with this fleet. So let's go to the fleet manager and drop our attack picket requirement by 6. Yeah, we're going to have 40 attack pickets and 30 torpedo ships in this fleet, all that can cloak. The attack pickets have a little bit of flak batteries in case we're dealing with stations that have high, bays. I'm going to switch these over to autocannons when we get them. And the same here. This will be an autocannon because this is coming in very close range for the torpedoes. They fled. We kept the station. Strike Force Dragon is now going to intercept the Breeze. And it looks like the Breeze was headed our way, but we're also going to retake that station. And that way we can push up and get Vuzabaru and go back to having these people follow us so they won't be routing around weird ways. I actually need to keep zoomed out so I can see where these guys start coming out of. Yeah, this place it'd be great if Task Force would finish repairing and get over there and retake that system. My science ship is en route. Time to cloak. It's about to enter the system with this one. They're pulling back. So let us redirect Strike Force Dragon to have it go to Oblique and then to Vuzabaro. And you are going to research the projects in this system and then this system. As a matter of fact, we can drop the active reconnaissance right now and go ahead and research the projects in this system and then go back to the active reconnaissance. Hegemony of Ubaria is in a migration treaty with the Federician League. They're turning around to engage us.
Engaging enemy station. Our pioneers have made planetfall.
Alright, we flipped the station already. And it's saying the Kerfiga battle group is still on here, even though we didn't engage them, and it said we took some damage. So we have made planetfall on Bastion in the Niamba system. We've acquired an asset, an official within their civic hierarchy. We've got an attaché in the Glosterwahenian. And Governor An Kong. Looks like they're aged 20 years. They have substance abuser. That is our newest governor, too. The one with architectural interests that is in the new sector. Our attaché is Ontep Lawton. He is a Praku. Attaché is not really that useful for anything I like to do. So we need another asset. It takes 45. We're going to have to wait to launch that operation. Although I could use that guy to create havoc back there. Influence is a pretty big bottleneck. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to be renegotiating some deals. I don't think I need quite as much monthly boost to these guys. Actually, I don't need to renegotiate the deals to do this. What we're going to do is go to their capitals. I need to go to their capitals and check out the holdings. Or we can just go to our holdings section. Alright, Vardavar is their capital. We currently have an Overlord garrison here. If we look at the United Miravandians, they have a huge monthly change of over 4. This is adding 2, and the armies are adding an additional 1.5, so that's 3.5 we would end up losing if we swapped out this Overlord garrison. I was thinking of swapping these out for the ones that give us influence, the Ministries of Truth, but we actually would lose a significant amount. They have a lot of unemployment here on this damn world. Why do they have so much unemployment? Why are they not developing their colonies? Alright, this place does not have one. Let's check it out. If I were to add an Overlord garrison. Yeah, it does 2 monthly loyalty change. And then another 1.5 for having 3 armies on the planet. So that ends up being 3.5. Loyalty change. I was hoping to be able to offload some of the Overlord garrisons for other buildings. But it appears we're a lot closer than I thought. It says the United Miravandian Imperium is getting 4.5 from holdings. Now they have 3 holdings. That's 4.5 for those 3 holdings. Well, 4 holdings, because this one reduces it by 1.5. These all add 2, so that's 6, which would be down to 4.5. Where is it showing that my army is actually affecting things? Because this says there would be an additional, every Overlord army on this planet gives an additional 10, half a point of monthly loyalty. And I know I have 3 armies on that planet. Yeah, there they are. My Janissaries and my Assault Legions. So they should be adding extra. But it's only showing it as a 2. So would I only lose 2 or would I lose 3.5 by swapping this out? Let's experiment. Alright, let us switch this over to a Ministry of Truth. Because right now, they have a 4.14. If it drops below 2, then my armies do matter. If it doesn't drop below 2, then my armies aren't mattering. Another thing, I realized why our war exhaustion was climbing faster than theirs at the start. A lot of the fights were taking place with my allies, over in the United Latrepian area. They do not have the reduction to war exhaustion that we do. We can definitely settle status quo now. But in order to do that, I need to retake this system. Once I retake this system and planet, I will settle status quo, because that means we will control all of the hegemony of Ubaria.
Fleet action underway.
It just took out the breeze. And now we should be headed that way to retake Vuzabaru. They have very small fleets in there. I still haven't seen where their 10K fleet ended up. Have these guys turned around? Yes, they finally turned around and are headed back this way, I think. Or they're just sitting there. One of the 2. Alright, since my fleet is in here, I'm going to move the transport ships to follow them. They should be protected enough. Ubaria has almost no armies on it. So if we can flip this system fast, land our troops, and make sure that their 10K fleet doesn't push through here, we should... Actually, I don't mind losing a regular system. I just want all of their colonies. So if I end up losing Jernast or Iblik, that's fine. We didn't lose any ships. They did do hull damage to us. United Nations of Earth broke off the commercial pact with the Soren combined clans.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Scylla is updated, so we can merge it with the other Strike Force here in Polagar. Those weren't North Star Interceptors I upgraded them into. That was supposed to be attack pickets. Did I mess up? Retrofit them again. Alright, here we go into the system. They've moved another fleet in here.
Fleet action underway.
We're chasing down their science ship.
Battle debris secured. Battle debris secured.
United Nations of Earth broke off their research agreement with the Soren combined clans. We got a little access to plasma throwers and autocannons off of the research here, and subspace sensors off of the research in Iblik. Now let's go ahead and order them to head toward the planet, and we will have them land when this fight is completed, which should be fairly shortly since we took out the fleet, or the fleet fled. Glostwarhenian have declared Tenderzun their rival. Praku Interstellar Nation has entered into a research agreement with the United Nations of Earth.
Construction complete.
They did have some defense platforms there. Tibor Starbase has upgraded. I am going to need more anchorage slots. So we are going to start upgrading our anchorages again. And I think right now 2 detection arrays is enough. A listening post would extend the range at which I could detect cloaked ships. But I want the black hole observatory in here. I don't have access to it yet. So for now, I think we will put a listening post here just to improve our sensor range. And we might end up adding more detection arrays as filler right now. Yeah, we're about to get the last platform there, and our fleet has made it into the system there.
Ships refitted.
United Nations of Earth broke their migration treaty with the Soran. Of course, we just refitted those ships again. Tenderzun have declared Glostwarhenian their rivals. We flipped the system, so we are immediately going to land. And as soon as we can capture this system, we are going to sue for peace. In the meantime, we are going to move our fleets here so that they start repairing. And let's go ahead and have our science ship research these projects. Stop the reconnaissance. Research the projects. And wasn't there another one over here? Yes. Because we no longer need to do active reconnaissance here, we can move this ship elsewhere. They're getting the only debris still in this system. So as long as we can take this planet before they move in. And we did lose one more Corvette doing that. But we took out a cruiser and a Corvette, and I believe we also took out a couple of defense platforms, even though it's showing we didn't. We eliminated some. So it hinges down to the battle for Eubaria, how long it takes.
All sword ground elements are dropping on target.
And it should be less than 3 months, I would think. The Verzak Galactic Technocracy has embraced the Alien Awareness Watch and become more xenophilic. Xenophile Pacifist Materialist. Tenderzun broke off the commercial pact with the Verzak.
Sword 1 Actual reports all ground objectives secured.
So we do have full control, let's reland our armies, of every system. So let's see, if we go to... Do we have enough information on the hegemony to know exactly how much they control? They have 11 colonies. How many systems do they control? We don't know how big their empire is. Let's check under the situation log, under the victory conditions. Number of systems is still unknown. But it looks like we control everything. I do not see any systems that do not say fully controlled. Now, our allies currently control a handful. That one is fully controlled by us. We can sue for a status quo. What would we need to get them to actually fully surrender? We need to get more occupation and drop down their Navy strength significantly. We'd need 100 more points of acceptance. 70 could come from occupation. 26, we'd have to completely decimate their Navy. I don't see that as achievable, so we are going to have to settle for the status quo, but I'm going to wait until this fleet has landed so that we are occupying their planet and keep an eye out for other things. And I can actually go ahead and go back to taking point, I think. I am taking point. Okay. Are they headed this way? Or are they still routing around? Looks like they turned around and headed back this way. It does not look like they control any of my allies' systems. But let's wait till at least the end of the month so that everything has clicked over. And now we will attempt to settle a status quo. A new Ubaric Empire will be created out of 30 occupied Ubarian systems. That's not all of their systems. We occupy 34 systems. Let's see. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, okay, so we will get all 30 of these systems. That's what it's saying.
Science Division report success.
Quantum energy states. Basic entanglement principles applied to energy generation provide a substantial increase in energy output. All right, I think we've got enough debris to get the sensors without researching it. Multics have X-ray lasers, but that would still take about 5 years. I think we will get further code breaking, because the higher our code breaking is, the faster we infiltrate. That would take about 3 years. There's not really anything else I would want to research in the interim with what options we have, so yes, we will go with the code breaking. I'll need my computer expert back in here. We have managed to secure research with the Uthabulans that gave us speculative hyperlane breaching, access to it. We could also pick up cloning. A little bit of progress toward cloning. We'd lose our academic. We still do have a subterfuge. So yes, let us sacrifice our academic for a speculative hyperlane breaching and additional access to cloning. The role of the Commonwealth of Man is played out. Go where you belong from now on, into the dustbin of history. We're tearing apart your alliance. I don't think we're going anywhere. The Ubarian people has agreed to bring an end to this war effective immediately. We will accept this for now. It looks like we did not get all of their systems. A new Ubaric Empire is created as an ally or subject out of 30 occupied Ubarian systems. Well, we lost Vuzabaru. Yeah, they kept Ubaria. And it looks like they also kept Huff. But we had control of both of these systems. So it looks like settling a status quo will not completely destroy an empire. We would need to have done victory for that. But we did manage to get the autocracy of Rakaron to become our vassal. Oh, you guys seriously are a democracy? Alright, so let's go to our new our agreements. They have a horrible loyalty right now, but we do start with one holding on a vassal. And it is on Rodaman. We need to set up an overlord garrison. And we need to move our fleet to Rodaman, which is in the Rakaron sector. And we will land there. That should help with their loyalty increase. It's going to take a while for that to be built, and we're still doing the experiment with the Ministry of Truth on Vardavar. Now, you don't really get multiple benefits from having additional specialists. For example, if I had another Bulwark, I would end up having to give them resources, but I would not get a cumulative bonus for like these Overlord modifiers. You only get that for one Bulwark. The main advantage is the benefits it gives to the subject. So multiple prospectoriums are kind of useful because you will get resources out of them, and they will get bonuses to their resource output. However, they also are a drain on my research. Not a significant one because this one's kind of small. The same goes for Scalariums. Now let's see, if we go to terms negotiation, if we made them give us resources, it's a tax of their basic resources. It doesn't tell me how much it's going to be right now. Yeah, I'm not seeing how much that would be given. They start with joining all of our wars, one holding limit. Their expansion is prohibited, their diplomacy is limited, and their integration is permitted. Now, right now, they're losing loyalty big time, so we are going to go to them. And we are going to start improving relations with the spy we had in the hegemony, Divya Vinctasian. Because we need to get their loyalty up. They're only losing 1.5 due to being recently subjugated. It's the other decisions, us allowing us to integrate, the limited diplomacy, the expansion prohibited, all of that oppressive thing is making it negative. So we are going to need to renegotiate to give them a little less oppressive nature so that they will not become rebellious. But if they do rebel, we could just conquer parts of them. But yes, unfortunately, we did lose. We didn't get everything. Now I can send my fleets back because the war is now over. They've all got their own home bases, so we will just tell them all to return. Got my transport fleet moving to occupy some of their planets. How many planets did they get? They have 9 planets. So the hegemony of Ubaria now only has 2 planets. And we don't really have intel on this brand new empire that was created. Yeah, our current intel level is only 10. So status quo does not end up completely ripping them out. At least it didn't in that situation. Now that they are such small empires, I think next time we will just go for conquest. We will take over these systems. I may end up giving the systems to the autocracy of Rakaran. And funny that it's the autocracy of Rakaran and it's a democracy. So that ended up being a little bit weird for me. Now that we're no longer at war, can I get to their capital? I gotta let it progress, I think. Yeah, there we go. Now we'll go to active reconnaissance there because they no longer are stopping us with their FTL inhibitors. Uthabulan allied clans is no longer a valid rival for our empire. Alright, well, what is left in the Federation? The Citizens Alliance of Orcumfung and the Galactic Destican Policy. What about the Citizens Alliance? Yes, we can make them a rival because they are in that federation we're trying to rip apart. Tindrazun made peace with the Great Miravandian Authority. They became independent from the Tindrazun, and the Tindrazun did get 3 systems out of it. Yeah, there's a lot of rebellion going on over here. We need to step in and solidify the galaxy. We're not really getting a whole lot out of this prospectorium. If we look at our agreements, we're giving them about 50 points in every research in exchange for 150 energy credits, 50 minerals, and less than 10 food. They're not providing any strategic resources. They're only providing about 20 consumer goods. This prospectorium has not been very valuable to us. They only have a few planets, though. They just aren't developing very well. Alright, what would it take to integrate the autocracy? We have to have had them for 10 years, and it costs nearly 400 influence, and then we'd end up taking over all of this territory. Now, can we see, if we go to their planets, how many resources they provide? A little bit. I mean, they aren't that great either. Of course, they're currently suffering stability losses and devastation. But this being a larger territory might make a better prospectorium. But I think what we're going to do is just make them an actual vassal. And that vassal, we are going to have them pay us tribute. But first we need to stabilize some of the features here. Now I still need about 200 to spin off Corinth. Though at this point I'm kind of wondering if I should bother spinning off Corinth into a Scalarium. It would slightly boost my research. Now, oh, that also reminds me, now that we are no longer at war, let's drop most of these edicts we are running to boost during wartime. We can keep the sensors. Those are useful right now. After we finish off this debris, where do we want to relocate this person to? I think we want to send them to Orcumfung, doing active reconnaissance. Howling Vortex, that is probably going to end up being another Marauder Empire. Which does remind me. Yeah, they've still got pretty sizable fleets. That's 55 in fleet strength. This one is even larger, but we can't quite take their other systems away from them just yet. They still haven't sent those raiding fleet after us. Looks like the Legionnaires have returned. Or no, those are reinforcements. Ours are still in transit for another 2 years.
Battle debris secured.
Got a little progress toward plasma throwers. Allied Multics territories is a migration treaty with the nation of Selnock Prime. Where is the nation of Selnock Prime? Is that the one that popped up over here? No, that's... Yes. Consolidation. For the rebels on Kornagi 2, the future appears grim under the inspired leadership of Soki Jagor. Pro-unification forces have seized power in most of the planet's population centers. Unity is imposed with an iron fist. Any dissent is swiftly crushed. Tendrazun broke off their research with the Verzak. United Latrepian domains are in a commercial pact with the hegemony of Ubaria. Are the people we were just at war with? Star Realm of Shar decided to end their association status with the Allied Independent Systems. Gloswarhenian subjugated the Great Miravandian Authority. The Gloswarhenians are becoming a large threat. Uthabulan allied clans are in a commercial pact with the Latrepian domains.
Battle debris secured.
Got a little bit toward plasteel materials and subspace sensors. Quite a bit toward plasteel. 20% progress. Let's, we're 3 months away from alloy megaforges. Let's check out plasteel. Oh man, we are really close. I believe we'll get that through espionage as well. I mean, through the debris as well. United Latrepian Domains is in a research agreement with the hegemony of Ubaria. And a research agreement with the Uthabulan allied clans. Gloswarhenian broke their migration treaty with the Star Realm of Shar. Rishethian State has joined the Ally Independent Systems. And the Gloswarhenian hierarchy subjugated them. Rishethian State was over here. Yeah, they're kind of small now. Yeah, it looks like the Gloswarhenians are becoming the threat. We're going to have to... I think we need to shift our focus, and instead of dealing with them, start maybe grabbing some of these empires this way to kind of equal their size. Let's see how we're doing on this. We have actually dropped down a couple more notches, despite the fact we now have more allies with us. Yeah, the Latrepians and the Miravandians have to vote with us. So do the new empire. But they have almost no... I don't think they've joined the Galactic community yet.
Battle debris secured.
A little bit more progress toward plasteel and subspace sensors. That was all the debris left there.
We have claimed a new world.
Hawksworth on the tidally locked moon. Let's look at the decisions now. There was a unique decision here. Expand dayside infrastructure. More generator districts, more energy credits from jobs. Adds a dayside solar farm. Now currently we are limited to 11 or 12 districts. We already have access to 10. 6 extra energy districts. I don't think that's going to help. We're going to be able to make use of all of that. But the 30% extra energy credits from jobs actually might make it worth doing, even if we don't get the full districts here. Alright, we're going to start out as a colony. And let's go ahead and build a holo theater first thing. No. Let's go ahead and get started on the generator districts. So we have a place to send our slave workers. It must have been a display bug showing that they were a democracy. They are actually a military dictatorship that has now adjusted. They're on expansionist, even though we have it to where they can't expand. Oh, I forgot to go through my stations. I'm currently in the process of adding defense platforms to almost all of my stations and upgrading stations. I've added some resource silos around as well.
Science Division report success.
Got a little bit more for plasteel and subspace sensors. Solid holographic cast can alter their shape at a moment's notice, speeding up alloy production. So we have access to the alloy megaforges. I think we're going to get plasteel just off of the debris. Multics have habitats. It would take 5 years for us to get habitats, and that would be a drain on our influence, which we are already suffering a bit of a drain on. Let's, we could get robots to speed up our economy growth. Even though slaves are technically better, they breed faster and all of that, we could get robots to get to droids to have somebody to build fast as the specialist. It would only take a year to knock out robots. Nobody that I'm in a research agreement with has anti-grav engineering yet. Let's start working on autocannons. It'll take 2 years, but we can get some progress toward autocannons for our next major upgrade of ships. We're about to get like plasteel and sensors completed just from all these researches here. And we'll worry about the megaforges during my next maintenance cycle in January. Federician League is in a migration treaty with the hierarchy of Moffith. Polissimon Concordant has joined the Galactic community. That's got to be a new empire from somewhere. Since that's not alphabetical, it's a lot easier to find them on this list. They rebelled against the Interstellar Picarian Coalition. Yeah, they're just a tiny spot over here. Now, I want to get up to about 200 influence so I can go ahead and spin off Citadel before I go to war again. To cut down on my empire size a little bit and to get a little bit more research
Skywatch
boost.
has sighted a spaceborne life form.
Where? It would probably be those space amoeba over there. Since we just moved into this system. We sold one of our oxen litter slaves. I have one other one on the market as well. And there, it sold. Oh, I forgot to keep an eye on the Vardavar when it shifted over to see how much they lost. Yeah, they lost about 3.5 points, or close to it. So yes, it did knock out more than the 2 points we lost for holdings. Where are the extra points coming from? Apparently they're not showing on here. I bet if we added everything up, it wouldn't end up being the amount we get. Let's see. The ethics, compatibility, and pledge of loyalty is 2.5, drop down to 0.5 point with divided patronage. Then we add another point, so it's 1.5, drops down to negative 1.5, up to negative 1, down to negative 5, up to negative 4.5, up to negative 3.75, negative 0.75, and then it'll drop down to negative 3. The holdings will drop it up to negative 1/2. Subject opinion would make it 1.84. So the bonuses we're getting from the armies, it should be 1.84. And we have at least 2 holdings with armies on them that should be adding another 3 points. So why is this not adding up? We only lost on this page 2 points from holdings because it was at 4.5. But I'm not seeing where our armies being part of the holdings are being added in. Unless that +2 from holding takes it into account having armies there, and without it it's only plus 0.5. But that does mean we could drop one of the holdings there. We could drop one of their holdings that are providing, and they'll still have a huge positive. Let's see. Let's drop the one on Mulgarima. And then we will go to Dantariga and add a Ministry of Truth. Yeah, they only dropped about 2 points. There's another way to test this. Here on Ferdera, this is saying monthly loyalty changes 2. We have armies on the world. So we are at 3.7 is what it says we are at. We are still at 3.7. That had no effect on the loyalty increase, despite the fact that this says each overlord army on this planet gives an additional 0.5 monthly loyalty. It did not seem to have any effect, because we just launched our 3 armies. Oh, I see it now. It says the monthly loyalty change is 0.5 base and -10 to crime. So it did go down 1.5. Now it is visible to me. So they are 2 points when they have the armies available. So let's go back to Ferdera and say land the armies. And now if we look at the holdings, this should jump up to 0.2 when the armies are fully landed. I think it's going to take a little bit of time for them to re-land. So it is making a difference. The default amount was 0.5, and having the 3 additional armies upped it to 0.2. I see now. Since the Gorgon is already repairing, and it is one that's pretty much at full strength, I went ahead and redesigned the ships. Most of my ships were still using Tier 2 shields and missiles, even though we're going to get a sensor upgrade and a few others fairly soon. Those can hold off until we get the autocannons. I'm going to go ahead and start upgrading a lot of my fleets so that they are a little bit more powerful. This one is listed as 7.6K. After the upgrades, it should be significantly higher. And I did need to check my minor artifacts. Yeah, I've still got some time before that. And we have a bit more of a cushion now. We're up to 3,000. So I can hold off before spending any.
Battle debris secured.
Gorgon is fully repaired. We got a little bit more toward autocannons and a lot more toward plasma throwers. My scientist aboard the Wanderer has passed away. That was one that was researching debris. We're going to need a new scientist. Let's go with Francesco Bianchi, military theorist. Go back to researching the projects in this system.
Construction complete.
Yes, I forgot to queue up more construction in these places. For now, I'm going to throw additional resource silos because they have no maintenance on these extra slots here. And for this one, right now our detection strength is 2. I'm not sure we need extra detection strength, but I'm not sure what else I would want to put here. I could put some trade hubs. 2 would reach all of my new colonies until Tetera is available. That would take 3. But that would give me a route I would have to patrol back through here. So I think we'll go ahead and add more detection arrays on here.
Science Division reports a new breakthrough.
Got a little bit more progress to subspace sensors, and actually unlocked them. Sensors that detect the subspace fluctuations left in the wake of traveling starships. Their sensitivity and range is greater than that of a gravitic sensor array. So now we have access to the Black Hole Observatory. Let's go back to Larkin Singularity. And we're going to end up replacing this listening post with the Black Hole Observatory. And we actually want to do that before we finish that additional detection array. Our contract with the Fortress Legionnaires has ended and their fleet is about to depart. Should we contact them to renew their contract? No. I'm not currently at war. Let them go. They were in space anyway. Nebulous transport. We'll wait until they are back to pick up the contract. I'd actually like to do it at the start of a year, probably. Fat and happy. As the civil conflict continues to rage on Kornagi 2, pro-unification forces are on the brink of victory. However, far from the front lines, local governors are seizing every opportunity to enrich themselves. For now, criticism remains muted, but the corruption has not gone unnoticed by the local population. The hegemony of Ubaria broke off their migration treaty with the star realm of Shar.
A new world has been secured for our colonists.
We've established Bastion on in the Nambia system. This will probably be a Forge world. It kind of fits with the name Bastion, I believe. Going ahead and doing a partial upgrade on these pickets that are here, so that when the next upgrade is ready, they will be able to upgrade from that directly.
Ships refitted.
We refitted the hangar, the one hangar we had built at Poligar Station. And I gifted 420 minor artifacts to the autocracy of Rakaron in order to give them the plus 100 for favorable trade deal. They still have a huge monthly loyalty hit. It's going to take a while to get this vassal under control.
Ships refitted.
There, now Strike Force Hippogriff is refitted into the new attack pickets. We have refitted all of the defense platforms at 3 of our border systems.
Battle debris secured.
Got a little bit more progress to plasteel materials, and I believe that was the last debris. So what we are going to do with the Wanderer is we are going to send it forward to see if we can't get a few more first contacts. There were some aliens we had discovered. I think I may have to uncloak to actually get the contact, and that may end up kicking us out of systems. But like these, I'm pretty sure. Let's go ahead and cloak. Oh, we are cloaked. Why do we not have access to that? We can get to oh, that system is not explored. So we have to explore this system first to get there to where we can see the Howling Vortex and see if we can establish first contact.
Ships refitted.
We have refitted most of the fleets here. Let's go ahead and get the one missile that we were in the process of constructing before this new missile comes out. Yeah, I am building defense platforms at every starbase I have. I want my territory to be difficult to come into.
Ships refitted.
And that got their last one that was just churned out. A planetary gambit. Another chance to tidally lock a moon. Terra 3A, size 11 as well. That would make it another good energy world. Looks like we got more than one. Yeah, we got 3 pop-ups for all of our terraforming. So we could make this one another decent energy world. It's not really good for anything, so do it. We can tidally lock this one. Another little tiny world. It's already really good for energy. This would make it even better, because we would be able to get a 30% more. Yeah, let's tidally lock that one. That didn't add any more generator district because it already has the max. Access to success. Austin 3A is settling down. We discovered that the project has put us in an unanticipated situation. We did not need as many resources as we initially set aside to finish this project. And now we have a chance to add on one additional feature to the moon. Our terraforming specialists have presented us with 3 different options. We could add rushing waterfalls to add more generator districts. See if we could develop more mining districts. Or add more agriculture. We'll use more generator because strong magnetic field gives a bonus to energy credits. So now we actually have 11, I think it is. No, 9 generator districts. But we finished the terraforming of 3 of our worlds. There currently is no terraforming in progress. Yeah, all of the terraforming we were doing is completed. So I can disable terraforming gases.
Ships refitted.
Autocracy of Rakaron has finally joined the Galactic community. That means that they should vote with us, which should increase our weight on supporting and opposing things. I don't see them here just yet. We have fully refitted this starbase fleet and it has upgraded. This is Deneb Station. I think we are going to add hangar bays here in Deneb. Glosswerhenian has declared the Adnoran Reapers their rival. I'm not going to switch away from opposing natural sanctuaries at this point. I'm just going to take the hit to the diplomacy of all the people who are supporting it. At this point, I'm beginning to make a stand in the galactic community rather than just playing nice. I plan on working my power up. So it passed. Next one up should be minor administrative sanctions. I may pull my support from that when we get closer to make sure that regulatory facilitation is the next one. So it's going to take about 5 years for the Nomad to get in position over here in Orcam Fung. And over 5 years for this ship to get in position to check out the Howling Vortex. I decided to shift around a few holdings, so I ended up consolidating most of my holdings on the capitals so that I can keep my garrisons on their capitals. While we're in the process of doing this, United Miravandium Imperium is going to be dropping in loyalty until the new one gets built, but it's only going to take about 9 months, so that's not even 10 points they'll end up losing. I gave 250 minor artifacts to the United Latrepian domains in exchange for a pledge of loyalty. That also was a huge bonus to favorable trade deal for them.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Gorgon is now fully refitted. I can go to reinforce the fleet. It does need 2 cruisers because I have designed some cruisers and added them to the fleet. And that will cover the 2 cruisers. We're only getting about 2 points from this faction. It has a very low approval rating and very low support. There's only about 16 members. But we aren't currently using robots, so we might as well pass the edicts that they are interested in, or the policies about robots. We aren't using robots, so let's go ahead and outlaw them. And let's outlaw artificial intelligence. So that gave us about 15% more by doing no synth rights and life organic, and upped us almost another 2 points. It's about 1.4 is how much extra we're getting. So it's a little bit extra we're bleeding through by making these guys a little bit more happy. They're not going to be happy until they get bigger, or we pursue psionics, or we embrace them. And I'm not really interested in doing that at this point, but I did want to squeeze a little bit more out of it. I do not think we are going cybernetic ascension since we do not have any materialist in our empire. We probably won't go psionic unless this faction really grows in our empire. More than likely we will end up doing biological ascension, and once we get the ability to modify species, modifying some of our slaves so that they are more efficient. I do know a few of our slaves are decadent if we look at the species. Okay, we have one that's unruly. That's hurting our empire size from pops. But what we could do with this one, especially once we get the ability to remove traits we don't need, we want to get rid of talented since they can't be leaders. But we want them to generate more amenities. And since they will be clerks, we also want them to generate more trade value. And as entertainers, we want them to generate more unity. The Ichnerval, we would like to get rid of weak. We'd actually like to make them strong so that they get even more. They are industrious. They're already docile. Deviants, I'm not that worried about. The Oxenoliters, we do need to get rid of decadent. That makes them unhappy. And I'm not worried about their housing usage. And we don't really need enduring since they're not going to be leaders, so we could, when we get to the ability where we can remove positive traits, we can shuffle them around a bit more. Giving them docile would also be a good one. That would cut down on our empire size Right now we are getting a huge chunk from population. There's actually almost as many aliens in our empire as humans at this point. And looking at our factions, we do have a little bit of attraction to xenophile because we have diplomacy with Xenos, but it's kind of being countered a little bit because some other empire has humans as slaves. And for egalitarian, we have attraction because we have diplomatic pacts with other empires that are egalitarian. And we have pops that are enslaved. Slaves tend to drift toward egalitarian faction because it is hope for them to not be slaves anymore. Remains of a vast space station have been found in Zubin. Judging by the amount of what seems to be office space and a vast forum outfitted with dozens of different types of life support systems, our scientists suspect that this is the remains of an interstellar assembly. The Federation League have that. Interesting. That's the first megastructure I believe we have come across. We actually haven't had a wormhole or a gateway in our vicinity either. It looks like there's a gateway over here. That's a regular gateway. And I thought there's an L gate right down there. We might actually have this ship that is just exploring. I'll control shift and have it pop in over here just to give us the gateway pop up. There's a wormhole way over here. Another L gate down there. Strike Force Dragon is fully repaired. Federation League is in a migration treaty with the Citizen Alliance of Orcam Fung. It's migration treaties that will primarily push people towards xenophile because you are sharing populations and also having non-slaves in your empire. Galactic Destican polity broke their migration treaty with the Glosterhenians. So if I ever gave somebody as rights, let's just go to set rights. If I ever changed their citizenship to residence, it would be a bit more of a draw toward becoming xenophiles. But setting them as residents is about the only way to let them work every job. Now the chattel slaves are just workers. The domestic servants can be entertainers. That's the only specialist they can be. The battle thralls can be enforcers. That is the only specialist job they can be. But the indentured servants can be any specialist job except for entertainer and soldier. So if we did get a fourth species to become indentured servants, then we could expand. But I think having the humans work the specialist job is the better choice. That way we don't have another slave with bad happiness and any sort of political power. The same for making another species a resident of our empire.
Construction complete.
I forgot to queue up something here. It needed another exemplary.
Construction complete.
And for Deneb, I also forgot to queue something up. I forgot to go through my star bases, basically, so a bunch of them are going to have empty construction queues when I go to check them in July, but I was running low on alloys anyway. I'm spending quite a significant amount upgrading ships. A Cano organism has joined the Galactic community. They are a hive that popped up here. Must be another pre-FTL civilization that popped up. United Latrepian domains hired our mercenaries. So we're probably going to have to get them to cancel the mercenary contract so that we can rehire them later. Power plays. Across Kornagi 2, rebel forces are in retreat, and Soki Jagor reigns supreme. However, even as a new world order is taking shape, fractures have begun to appear. High-ranking officials pit themselves against victorious generals, and profit-hungry courtiers stalk the halls of power. Soki Jagor is about to be tested on a whole new battlefield. There's an unidentified alien space station here we have not made contact with. I'm wondering if I decloak, will it kick me out of their system? Yes, we have closed borders. So it's going to be difficult for me to get the first contacts with other species while cloaked. We cannot launch a first contact investigation while cloaked. Sovereignty of Tuxcali has declared Interstellar Picarian Coalition their rival. Ofang 4 Anti-Alien Task Force. This is the exact same pop-up we got with the other one. They were both in Machine Age. A Kano organism closed their borders to us. Tendrzun has declared the Uthabulan their rival. Uthabulan allied clans declared the Tendrzun their rival. CNS Nomad was forced to return to Dultari because of it was in the borders of the Federation League. It must have been detected, forced to decloak, yes. Was forced to decloak and has gone missing in action. They'll be back in 4 years. So the Federation League can detect where we were passing through. One of their stations obviously had some detection. That means the Wayfarer, the Wanderer, will not be able to enter their systems. We had a bonus to cloaking strength all the way through there. It was when we got to Soyama they were able to spot us. So a cloaking strength of 1 is insufficient to penetrate them. So let's try another Empire path. Where can we go? When we pop out there, we would be spotted, so we aren't going to be able to get to the Eye of Baal. Could we possibly get to this gateway? Going through the hierarchy of Moffith and the Queptilium. Queptilium Archivist most likely will spot us. They will most likely kick us out. So instead of going that path, let's route down through here. We want to go there first and stay out of Queptilium Archivist space. That way we can at least see if we can get through the hierarchy of Moffith to check out this gateway. Without having run into a gateway, we will not be able to research gateways. One of our governors has passed away at the age of 82, Ritvik Kulkarni. That was the retired fleet captain we had. We could get one with an iron fist to boost our slave pop resource output. Victor Volkov. We do have a significant amount of slaves here, having Dultari. That is Leffingwell. Actually, we only have 2 planets in this system, and this one is just getting started. So I think the slave pop would actually be better in Deneb, but the Unity is also better there.
Ships refitted.
Strike Force Medusa has finally been refitted. It needs 4 ships. We're about 61% through getting Strike Force Dragon. And we need to get our naval capacity back up. We are now listed as having a low naval capacity through the Drumbeat of Victory, which is a 10% approval penalty. Of course, we could disable some of our anchorages until we need them. Let's see. If we go to our anchorages, we can dismantle. There's no disable. So we would have to actually drop these and then rebuild them again later. And if, according to our fleet manager, we will still be under our current capacity when I fully reinforce all of my existing fleets. Great Miravandian Authority is in a migration treaty with the Glossworhenians. Lucrative Adventures. A large contingent of our veterans has sent a letter requesting leave to travel to the colony of Vardavar III, the capital of our vassal United Mirovandian Imperium. Included with the letter is a gift of credits to grease the wheels of bureaucracy, as they so delicately put it. It seems there are quite a lot of stories among our soldiers about the lucrative adventures one can find in those systems, be it as a mercenary or a pirate. In either case, it is made clear that they have put together what credits they have, hoping to make many times that if they are sent off to Vardavar III. If we were to formally send them to Vardavar III, they are at least more likely to be a boon to the leadership there and more likely to respect the laws and rules of our vassals than if we were to let them run free. So if we give them formal leave, we get 1,000 energy credits. If we let them do as we wish, we still get 1,000 energy credits. It's not that I respect the Miravandian Imperium, but they are also our prospectorium. So letting people go there who might become pirates, could potentially hurt our economy from them, even though they're not providing us much. But we could use the energy credits. We'll give them formal leave to travel, so hopefully they won't become pirates. Carnival protesters. Protests are springing up all across Doran. These large and colorful assemblies have gathered in support of singularly frivolous issues. From the right to hold public dances inside financial institutions, to which colors should be painted onto our defense platforms. The protests are not violent, but they are noisy. Some of the civic services on Doran have been placed under strain by the disruption. The same cannot be said for the general public, however, who, rather than being inconvenienced, seem instead to be enjoying the quirky demonstrations. Rise of the Manifesti event chain. That's going to hurt our specialist pop resource output.
New sitrep.
We have no specialist pop resource output other than bureaucrats. Oh, you're hurting our unity, you bastards. Alright, so let's go to the situation log. Day-to-day life in the Commonwealth of Man is colored by eccentric and disruptive public displays. Their purpose appears benign and artistically expressive, but what influence might this art have on our wider society? We have a new proposal. Astral Studies Networks. By linking our star bases together in a massive sensor mesh, we can greatly improve the quality of data that we gather. This is proposed by the Econo organism. It enhances the effectiveness of solar panel networks, black hole observatories, and listening posts. I have a black hole observatory. More weight from tech, more research station output, more planet sensor range. I suppose we can support that. And it has been another 5 years. So thank you all for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.